Welcome to the MC Squared podcast. This is episode 13. I am Jimmy McCanna.
And I am Andrew McNeil.
And do not be fooled by the MC Squared because this isn't stuff that Einstein did.
It's true.
Or ever thought about doing.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I got a fire in me. You're gonna set to burn. We got a world to see.
Well, welcome back, everybody. And very excited about episode 13. So we've been plugging away at this for a while, and it seems like we're getting some decent views on YouTube, and still the audio on your favorite podcast service is doing fairly well.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not taking off and making millions. I don't think we've made our first dollar yet. But
yeah, I don't really know how you make the dollar.
yeah, well, you got to get some sponsorships, and you probably got to be, maybe you got to be interesting. I'm not sure.
Or have a better intro than what we
there we
gave.
go. Yeah, well, our intro wasn't very good.
Intro, we probably
So I think we're going to go through some of the news headlines and some stuff. We're just going to kind of shoot the breeze, which folks don't realize this, but this is actually what we do all of the time anyway.
I know.
It does look like sometimes we have a plan, but that's not actually totally true. We just kind of talk with whatever is, what's interesting to us, which I think makes a good show. Because I think you got to be interested in whatever you're talking about. So
I mean, you pretty much did a show before we turned this whole thing on.
Unfortunately, we did. Yes.
We kind of did do a show. Anyway, let's start with something lighter.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 dad jokes or 1 dad joke, whichever one.
Yeah, I only got one.
I've got 2.
Yeah.
Just because.
Okay.
Why don't you? I'll go first.
Okay.
Me, then you.
Okay.
Then me. Okay. Try not to laugh to this one. It's very ridiculous. Why can't you hear a pterodactyl going to the bathroom?
I don't know why.
Because of the silent P. Okay. There you go. All right. There you go.
That was all you had?
No, that's the first one. I've got another
okay.
one. It's not real good either, but
Okay, so and I'm probably going to butcher this terribly. Okay, because like I said before we started,
the second time.
yeah, I'm not a very good joke teller, and I usually have to be reading it, which I'm not. So, but I remember this one vaguely. So, so my mom started walking.
Oh yeah.
10 miles a day when she turned 60. She's now 80 years old, and we have no idea where she is.
Very good.
That's all I got.
It was really bad, actually.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's okay.
It's terrible.
Okay. Why was Cinderella so bad at soccer?
Oh, I have no idea.
Kept running away from the ball.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, I know. That's not a good one. Yours was probably better. Let's end these.
Okay.
Look at some what we were planning on getting into in the first place. Local topics. So, first of all, I saw one that popped up today on my feed. Andrew, you may have something to say about this. The new Vigo County Superintendent discusses transparency ahead of the new school year. This was an interview by Drillmore.
Yeah, so I actually watched this on Channel 10. Ron Drillmore did the interview, so I didn't read it. I watched it, and I'm not proud of it that I watched Channel 10, but hey, I do like Ron Drillmore. He moderated the debate, and he moderates almost all the debates actually in Vigo County, and he does a great job. I've watched several of them. Never had any issues with the questions. He just moderates. He's very good at it. He doesn't actually bring the questions. The crowd does or whatever they're submitted.
I think he did a great job at your debate. I remember he had to get some people in line because it got a little bit out of hand, and he's really good about it.
Yeah.
He snaps it right back.
Yeah.
I thought he does a good job.
Yep.
Stay neutral.
So you can't tell what his politics is, and I think that's what you want from a moderator. So anyway, and he actually, at this interview, asked a great question of the superintendent, and I thought it was a completely fumbled answer. So it is fair to say, hey, this is his first real interview. starting out of the gate. Maybe he'll do better next time. But honestly, the question was about bullying, and Rondrell brought up the fact that a lot of parents are really upset because they feel like there's been zero transparency with the bullying issues, and parents of kids who are being bullied have said they've not seen much response from either the board or the previous superintendent or anything like that. And the answer was basically putting it back on the parents. And I'm paraphrasing here. You can go to Channel 10 and watch the interview. Yeah. But basically, he was stating that when a parent comes to them about a bullying issue, that they're going to try something. They're going to try something.
Let's try it. Something.
Didn't say what it was, but we're going to try something. And they have no idea whether it works or not. They're leaving it up to the parent to come back and say, hey, my kid is still getting bullied. And then they're going to go, oh, well, let's try something different. And that's how it's supposed to work, he says, that you're just going to keep letting us know that it's not working, and we can try. And if we don't know, then it's on the parent. And I was flabbergasted. It's one of the worst approaches to bullying and one of the worst answers of accountability. I don't think it's a great start. It's doesn't bode well for the future. To me, I was looking for some kind of a strong stand against bullying. We're going to deal with it. We're going to follow up. We're going to make sure that this issue is taken care of. If there's legitimate bullying going on, we're going to get it corrected.
Yeah.
That is on them.
Yeah.
And the parents aren't there. It's superintendents, principals, teachers. It's folks on the ground in the situation. They're the ones that should be fixing this. So I was very not impressed. Let's just put it that way.
It doesn't sound like that type of leadership skills are something that they teach. Seems pretty soft to me.
Yeah. And again, I've done some research from where he came from, and this was kind of the par for the course. So it's not all that surprising. Ultimately, I think we'll see. He's going to have every opportunity. He's going to have a long leash to do a lot of things. He's not on the hot seat, so he's got some time. Regardless of his interviews, if folks take care of these issues that parents are concerned about, then he'll be fine. But I wasn't real impressed.
I don't think you're going to take care of any issues unless you plan on making somebody mad.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to be upset. I mean, true leaders, they have to have a vision of where they plan on being at the end of this.
Yeah.
So if you're going to let the waves or the wind move you in these cases, it's going to be a long road. And I mean, in the end, I don't know the guy, and I haven't even listened to it, but a leader that does that just looks weak.
Yeah.
In the end.
Yep.
And then you get to the point where you try to implement something and it won't go.
Yeah. Well, it's
interesting. You got to almost start like start like hard nosed.
Oh, you have
and
to.
then come down from there.
Well, especially when it's an issue like this, which we all know we should all know the only way to really deal with the bully is to directly confront it and get it stopped.
Yeah.
You don't pander, you don't accommodate, you don't make excuses. The only way to really deal with it is get in there and deal with it. Mm-hmm. And there needs to be, from the folks that are supposed to be in charge, an attitude of what I just said, an attitude of no tolerance. Yeah. We're not putting up with this. And it isn't on the parent to make sure that kids are being policed. So, but that's not the philosophy of a lot of educators. So,
yeah. I would think that coming into this position, that would be one of the things you kind of expect.
Yeah.
And I know that you would do research, right? There has to be millions of dollars in studies put out from many different colleges of how to deal with bullying. So why wouldn't, instead of saying we're going to try something, why don't you say, well, we try what this study did,
and
see how maybe that won't work here. Well, let's try. I mean, there's got to be so much out there. Instead of trying something, just makes it really sound like we'll kind of figure it out as we go. Which you don't. Honestly, you just.
Well, I think the biggest part was, and that's true, but I think the biggest part was, hey, if the parents don't come tell us, afterwards, after we've tried something, like there was no follow up, there was no. it's really the parents' fault, basically. If it's still going on, it's the parents' fault because we didn't know again and again and again. So I just think that's kind of weird. It's just a weird way to handle that. But yeah, that's just me.
So the rest of the interview was kind of...
That was it. That was
really?
that was the... Well, I guess there was some more, but it was... the bulk of the interview, that was the best question, I thought, and the worst answer. And I thought it also, there was a couple other things, but it was generally in that kind of a vein. So, yeah.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, did you hear also that McDonald's is releasing a new McFlurry flavor?
Now, my wife might be interested. What's the flavor?
I didn't really know if the McFlurry machine ever worked.
No, I wasn't aware that it did.
It doesn't usually work. They're releasing, and I don't even know what this is, the Squishmallow.
Huh.
You know what Squishmallow is?
No.
It's kind of pink-ish and kind of reddish.
I'm already turned off.
Yeah, it doesn't look that advertising. So, well, there's the news of the day.
Is it super popular? Is that a big deal?
I think it is with the kids.
Oh,
it's little
okay.
squishy things that people buy.
So
kind of like a Beanie Baby of 2023, maybe, if you will.
So the McFlurry has these marshmallows, pink marshmallows, just kind of stirred up into it. Well, with the McFlurry, they don't actually stir it all up. It's a little bit down. It's usually the majority is not stirred. Yeah. Anyway,
if the machine even works.
If the machine even works.
We actually, when we just go to we say first thing they say, can I take order? Is your machine working? I mean, that's just get it out there. Just ask if the machine is working. Is the machine working? No. Well, thank you. We'll just move on. I'm not going to waste my time ordering at the machines.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's really
that
too bad.
That machine always goes down. I wonder, that machine, how much it really is down.
Yeah, and how much they just...
Man, if you were working there and you could take that machine down, no way to find out. You could be getting paid your $15 an hour or whatever they pay at McDonald's now and not have to make McFlurries. I mean, it's probably a good day when I drive up and say, "Is the machine working?" And they say no, and they're like, "They still get paid, right?"
It's true. It's true.
So
There's no tips.
Why make the machine work?
Right.
So it's actually an inside job.
Yeah, could be.
So, yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
This is completely unrelated, Jimmy.
Yeah.
But it affected my life greatly today. Do you like Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, actually I ate some today.
Do you really?
Yeah, I ate some yesterday and today.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to say where I ate them from. Mm-hmm. The cafeteria at the hospital. And so this is the whole thing about the cafeteria at the hospital. Okay, so the biggest joke about hospital food is bad. So, but I mean, there's some food that's not. I mean, our cafeteria is pretty good in some ways. Uh-huh. But it's like people go and they eat the food and they're like, the cafe has bad. Isn't that like the whole thing?
Right. It's to
hospital
feed your
food
patients.
isn't supposed to be as good as your home food. I don't understand that. And people are really mad about the food. Anyway, they cook them really well there.
Like kind of burn them a little.
Yeah, I think that helps.
It does. So we eat them from time to time. I'm not a fan. My wife absolutely loves them. I think some of my kids do. I'm not sure. Poor things. We just forced it down their mouths anyway.
Sure you do.
But they cut the Brussels sprouts in half, lay them down. They kind of, they kind of fry them or cook them or whatever. Yeah. So we were going to have Brussels sprouts for dinner tonight. Mm-hmm. They're perfectly green. They look great. She opened the bag, and they are rotten. Oh. It is, Brussels sprouts smell. I mean, they're not a good smell.
Yeah.
Even if you like to eat them, they're just...
Yeah, you don't smell them.
They smell terrible. Yeah, they're not great. I mean, they're not the worst, but it was the worst smell. It was Brussels sprouts that are rotted. Can you imagine? It was absolutely awful. And I have to admit, I was mildly pleased because we were not going to be eating Brussels sprouts tonight. I didn't tell Andrea that I was okay with the fact that we were throwing those away. Of course, we had to throw them away, and she was very upset, which is, that's... And then we had to bag up the trash and get it out. It smelled that bad. It was terrible. It was warm out. We have the air conditioner. We had to open the doors,
what
the windows.
What in the world happened
It was bad, and she couldn't hardly tell. I don't think she could tell which one it was because they looked fine, but they were not fine.
Rotten Brussels
Yeah.
sprouts.
So that was, anyway. So that was no vegetables for me tonight. So that was good.
What'd you have in place of it?
we didn't have anything in place of it. We had the main course, and then you always add those, And last time, Hadessa, my daughter Hadessa, she's a very good cook, and so she does a lot of the cooking now. Not that my wife isn't a good cook. My wife's a great cook, but Hadessa likes to cook, so we have her doing that and stuff, and it's great. But so she cooked the Brussels sprouts last time, and she did char them just a tad, but she didn't cook them. So it was raw Brussels sprouts with a little bit of. It was awful. It was awful. I might as well have gone out to somebody's garden and just
try, Hadessa.
It was.
You're
it
a
was
good
not
cook.
good. It was not good.
Don't listen to your
It was not
father.
good. No, I let her know. I'm in a loving way.
You
Of
got
course.
You got to keep it real.
Thank you for the effort, but these are inedible. Now my wife ate them because she'll eat. She loves chicken livers. She loves.
Old
Yeah,
school.
no, yeah,
Old school.
Yeah. So I like real food that tastes good, and I refuse to believe that Brussels sprouts is the only way for you to get nutritious food. I don't think that's can't possibly be true. There's something else you can eat.
There's some kind of super nutrient in there of some type.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so hey, I wanted to ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
So, and again, we're like completely off topic here, but what people, some folks are morning people, some people are evening people or whatever, and I think there's a time of day where you do your best work, and I mean like your brain is firing on all cylinders and everything. So, are you a morning person? Do you think that's true or not true? Are you a morning, evening person, or what? When do you do your best work?
I'm about a mid-morning person, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, so my best work is done after a huge breakfast.
Really?
Yeah. So if I get up early, have some caffeine, and I eat some protein of some type, usually bacon, and I feel a little bit full. Some people get tired.
Not you?
I go. It's like that's go time at that. So
really,
I eat breakfast, then I go. Yeah, I if I don't eat, I kind of drag a little bit. But yeah, mid morning, and then I don't taper real bad, and then if somehow I get a wild hair in the middle of the night, sometimes I can really work it out.
Yeah.
But no, mid morning is probably my best.
Really? Mm-hmm. So do you ever have a sugary breakfast and see that?
No, sugar breakfast is terrible for me.
Yeah.
I get
like pancakes or something like that.
Well, I get like super hungry later, but then I get like the diabetic.
Oh, do you
shakiness.
really?
Yeah. My body's like, what are you doing in the morning? Why are you dousing me with sugar? So I try to stay away from too much of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it makes me non-productive. But yeah, caffeine, protein, good to go. What about you?
I am a morning person, but I'm not like early morning. Like my father-in-law, he gets up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And I don't think it's just because he's old.
Because he goes to bed early.
I think he's always been that way, and that's great. But I can get up early. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, till noon. My brain's clear. I'm doing my best work. I have one egg in the morning for breakfast and a cup of coffee, and I don't eat big breakfasts. I love breakfast food, and I as I've gotten older. When I was a kid, I used to eat tons of stuff for breakfast. I can't do it. I can't eat a lot. So I'll generally eat sometimes a decent lunch. 3 or 4 o'clock comes around, Jimmy, and my brain, it's just don't give me anything too sharp or too complicated. I'm not proud of it, but
So
yeah.
start to fall apart.
Yeah, and I do decent work in the evening too. I don't know, but it's just like that time. It's time to change it up. I'm done. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, it's
So us filming this at 6:30
yeah.
p.m. is
So
not
it's
really
always
the
been
sharpest.
it's always been the worst for me. It's the truth. I'm always like, I hope people can't tell that I'm basically pretty stupid sitting here with a microphone in my face. So
Oh yeah. Well, we edit out those parts.
you edit out a lot, then
We
apparently
do edit out a lot. Yes.
All right, folks. We have a word from our sponsor, Jimmy.
Our sponsor today is Great Value Purified Drinking Water with flavor-enhancing minerals. Guess where this comes? The springs, or not the springs, of Bentonville, Arkansas. This is purified by reverse osmosis. Not only do you have purified water, but inside of this we have calcium chloride and sodium bicarbonate. Remember to recycle and enjoy Purified water. Great value. All right, thanks to our sponsor. Now we're back for the last segment of episode 13. And I just wanted to get Andrew's take on a verse that I have near my office. And
that's
so
cool.
I have this verse written on a whiteboard in my office. And I'm interested to just hear his take. I have my own, but today I'm going to listen to his. It's Isaiah 54:2. In the New American Standard, it says, "Enlarge the place of your tent, stretch out the curtains of your dwelling, spare not, lengthen your cords, and strengthen your pegs."
So what's the context of that? Is there any way to read?
Yeah, so this is the fertility of Zion. So right,
Okay.
So this is the verse actually starts out, "Shout, O barren one, you who have bore no child, break forth." This is really good, right?
That's really good.
This is break forth into joyful shouting and cry aloud, you whom have not travailed, for the sons of the desolate one will be more numerous than the sons of the married woman, said the Lord. And then it goes in to enlarging your tent, strengthening your curtains.
So it's a very encouraging prophecy and promise from the Lord to them, because you're basically it's saying to prepare
yeah,
for the harvest, prepare for an increase in your home and your family and your territory and your property. And that's what it's saying. It's a very it's the Bible has a lot of instances where that happens, where you had when Elijah prayed for no rain, and then for 3 years there wasn't, and then when he told basically the king it's going to rain.
Yeah.
He told him get going, it's going to rain. Well, there wasn't any rain in sight. And you have the promises of with Jeremiah when they were getting ready to go into judgment. Israel's getting ready to be hauled off to Babylon, and he's been prophesying this forever. I mean, it's doomed destruction. It's awful. And God says, "Now I want you to go buy a piece of property." And Jeremiah's like, "Why?" And God's like, "Because they're going to own property here again. You're going to buy and sell. This isn't forever." And with Ezekiel, same time frame kind of. And God gives him a vision where he literally, the temple's being destroyed, and God gives him a measuring rod, says, "Go measure the temple. Go measure it."
Yeah.
Because basically it's going to happen. You're going to rebuild. And I want you to know the measurements when it does. So I love how God does that.
Oh,
And
awesome.
it's almost like we have to have faith to believe God to do the things. Well, for example, in and I'm not trying to be long, but with I think it was Elisha, with the widow who was going to lose her son to slavery,
Yeah.
and her house, and Elijah, I think it was Elisha. I could be wrong. It may be Elijah or Elisha, one of them. It might have been Elijah. Told her to go get water or get pots. Go borrow pots from everybody you can.
Yeah.
And she did that in faith.
Yeah.
For I mean, it seemed crazy. And you feel like she had a little vial of oil, and she was supposed to pour the oil into these empty pots that she'd borrowed from everyone, and they all filled up, and she was able to sell them and pay off her debt.
Yeah.
She filled up every pot she had. So you feel like if she didn't have any faith and she only got a few, she would only have a few. Her harvest would have been much smaller. It's like God promises these things when we're barren and desolate, just like that scripture says. And what God brings, when he brings prosperity, or when he brings fulfillment to a promise when we've had destruction, it is more than just the natural having a family. It is rich, and it's full.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a requirement of faith that we have. There's always an action. I mean, they're right there before the increase comes. Extend your tent. Go ahead and take these actions. So
that's right. And I think that so the reason I have that is because in our work situations, there's a lot. You get frustrated with stuff.
Yeah.
Like you get something going and it stops work. But God's promise is, we have to remember that his promises are promises, which means they're going to come true.
That's right.
So sometimes you have to prepare the place for the promise to come rest before
I believe that.
you get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of see it like this. Like if the tent wasn't big enough, then there's not room for this to promise to come.
Right.
Also, you have to be able to sustain, like the glory of God is like a weightiness, like a heaviness, and you have to be able to sustain it. So if you just say, God, just bless me, bless me, bless me.
Yeah.
He loves you so much that he's not going, because that's a weight. I mean, that's
right.
it's nothing like to play with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just bless me. No, build yourself.
Yeah.
Build a strong foundation in me, and then I can drop it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I just see that kind of as an interesting thing. When I run into problems at work, I look at that and I'm like, no, you build it. It's like the build it and they will come.
It's true.
And it made no sense. I mean, and that it's kind of based upon the same thing. This is kind of like an Abraham thing, right?
Yeah.
Abraham, has a child because he doesn't want to wait on the promise.
Yep.
So he has a child with the servant of his wife.
Right.
He didn't want to wait on the promise.
Right.
And that ended up being a real mess later on.
Yes.
Yeah, with Ishmael.
Yeah.
But so he didn't want to wait. But I mean, this is kind of along those lines. Like, go and rejoice right now. Trust that blessing's coming.
That's really good. And you know what's, I always think kind of, what are people around these folks thinking? I mean, because Noah did the same thing.
Yeah.
And he had to be ridiculed for 100 years. It took him 100 years to build that thing.
Yeah.
And the woman going out and gathering pots, they have to be going, this lady's about to lose her house, and what is she doing? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is silly. And I think when we look at folks who are, God told me this, or I really believe God is going to do this for me, and they're preparing for it. Like you said, they're building a structure in their own life, whether it's character or whether it's practicalities to be able to do the thing that God tells them. It can make you look foolish to the world. I mean, you can really, and even other Christians, it can go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're never going to have that, or you're never going to do that.
Yeah.
And even if they don't say it to you, I think they can, it takes courage to have faith sometimes. Be obedient to whatever God's called you to do.
Yeah. And you're going to be different, and you're going to look
Always.
Peculiar.
Yep.
That's kind of what we're called to be.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that was good. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
Maybe it redeemed our episode. I don't know. I have no idea. I think it's good to do this for discipline's sake, just to stay in the groove. And obviously, and if you are still listening to this by the end of this, you should receive a reward. Hopefully this will not be that long of an episode, but there's a lot of news out there. I mean, there's stuff going on in the national politics. There's stuff, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to say the same things every episode. And we're not a live show. We're not a constant everyday podcast. So we're not going to cover the news like those kind of shows would do. And it takes a lot of time to be delved into that. I just think that hopefully we have some content that's interesting and unique and different, and folks want to hear it and listen to it. And I don't know that our dad jokes are the greatest, but we'll throw them out there, and
I can bring something encouraging every once in a while.
And I think it's a good format for us. Obviously, if we if we have folks we want to interview, and we have that format to do that and that kind of stuff, but I'm sure we'll have something to talk about next time that's super different. And maybe even another sponsor. So
another real sponsor. Well, hey, it's been real. It's been a good time, and
go get a McFlurry.
Let's do this again. Just drive up and say, all right, I'll tell you one more funny thing that I did. Really embarrassed my kids. So I ordered with the app one place.
Oh, really?
At Chick-fil-A, I ordered the app.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think it was Chick-fil-A. And I just drove up to the drive-in and I go, I'm here. That's all I told them.
Because it tells you to say, I'm here, right? Yeah. Okay.
I'm here.
What did they do?
And they go,
do you have a name?
I ordered online. I go, yes. And I use the name Batman.
Oh, jeez, Jimmy.
Batman's here. And they know who I am because nobody else has that as their first name. So I just say, I'm here.
Oh, my gosh.
My kids are really embarrassed by it.
I'd
recommend it. If you order by an app, just show up and say, I'm here, like that. And it'll embarrass your kids if you have
Did you know the Chick-fil-A here changed ownership?
No.
Yep. So it is a lady from Maryland who used to work there, and then she went out to Kansas and purchased her own Chick-fil-A, her and her family. And that's about 4 or 5 years ago. And she's returned, and she's the new owner of the Terre Haute Chick-fil-A. So she's a great lady. Kathy McCloy, I think, is her name.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they sold it to
Yeah,
and the
Evan
person who owned it
gone.
before was local, right? He was local.
I know him of him and know him, but I don't know if he was local or not. I knew him because he owned the Chick-fil-A. So it's a great restaurant. I mean, it's really, really hard to beat. We probably could get a Culver's sponsorship, honestly, because Culver's is also a great restaurant. You've got I kind of think of them as the hamburger Chick-fil-A, and then you've got the Chick-fil-A that's the chicken. And the nice thing about Culver's is they're open on Sunday. I can't tell you how many times I've left church. Let's go to Chick-fil-A, and of course it's the Lord's Day. So
it is Lord's Day, and they actually sell more than every other restaurant. Even though
God blesses it. And whoever designed their drive-through system should be in charge of our federal government.
They should be in charge of many things.
Yeah.
That drive-through is super efficient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so that wraps it up for us, folks. Episode 13. I have no idea what the theme of this show actually was. But
we're going to let AI tell us.
Yeah, we'll let AI tell us. AI is going to get completely confused. But if you want to reach out to us, again, our email is themcsquaredpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And check us out on YouTube. Really could use some help on the YouTube channel. We have some decent amount of viewers because we just started it, but we need more subscribers. So if you would go to our YouTube channel, and it's MC Squared.
Yeah, if you just MC Squared Podcast.
Yeah, MC Squared Podcast on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Like the latest video. Subscribe to the channel, and if you could share it, get some more subscribers. It'd be really, really great. Yeah. Like I said, we haven't been doing the YouTube portion of this show for very long, so it will take a while, but we need a little bit of a grassroots effort there to expand that. Yeah.
For Jimmy McCanna and
Andrew McNeil,
thanks for listening. Please share, and we will see you next time.
I got a fire in me. You're gonna set to burn.